How's it going, man?
It's going fine. We have a lot of work at the moment because we started to make new songs and we have some shows we're going to play here. And we have used our old singer, Søren Adamsen, because Michael has had some trouble with their son. He's just been divorced and stuff like that. So we play some shows with Søren Adamsen, our old singer. So, yeah.
That's awesome to hear, man. Now it's very exciting. I'm able to talk to you because we have this 40-year anniversary we got to talk about. We got this October tour. I'm super excited about. I'll
Mm.
definitely be seeing you guys in Providence. So what do you think? What is your thought process when you look at the 40 years of artillery? Is it overwhelming? What emotions do you feel?
Oh, I feel a lot of emotions, especially good emotions, because when if people was coming to say to me when we start up to play, and that I will make 10 albums, I will be playing in 68 countries, I would have laughed and said, "Yeah, yeah, you're kidding, man." So we have been so many places, been playing China, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, even Russia before Putin got amok, and played a lot of other places, South America, almost all places in South America. We've been on the United States and Canada before, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to come back.
Insane. Are there places that you haven't played yet that you'd like to?
Yeah, there are always countries, you haven't been on. For example, in Europe, we never been playing in Bulgaria, for example, and I always love to play new places. In South
Yeah.
America, we're still missing Venezuela, and a part of Denmark in Greenland, we never been there, but also, and Litauen, Estland, Estonia, some of those countries we haven't been playing. So yeah, there's always new countries to play.
Cool, cool. Now, as such a fan of your playing, I'd love to know what some of your influences are as a guitar player, just overall as a musician.
Oh, that's a lot. And
Go for it.
when we started in the start ages, I always was very influenced by Tony Iommi for Black Sabbath. He always been my really hero and still is in many ways. And also a guitar player like Michael Schenker, Jerry Holt from Exodus. And when you say, yeah, there's a lot of good guitar players all around there. So Chris Olivia from Sabotage, for example, also. So yeah, I have a lot of different guitar players, but I would say some of them inspires me rhythmic, and some of them inspires me at the solo way on the lead. So Michael Schenker, for example, is really, really been a big hero of mine also.
Cool. And tank as well. Even the name artillery comes from a tank song, right? Heavy artillery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. When we was meeting at the first time in the rehearsal room, we were sitting down with the old members, Carsten, Jørgen, and me and Morten, and a singer called Pioning, and we was talking about what way are we going with the music, and we all wanted to be a bit heavier than if you compare with the way our bands at that time was kind of different, been more popular, play more poppy music. So we wanted to have it a bit faster. And then we heard the song "Faster as a Shark" from Accept, and it was really something who really got us up on the big, and some punk stuff like GBH and also Excite of Judas Priest, for example. Merciful Fate was a big influence at the start. So yeah, there was a lot of good things there, and we used to rehearse with Merciful Fate and back in the start
Wow.
ages. So
That's insane, man. That's so awesome. Now I'm curious, what was your life like before artillery? Like what were you doing? Like what your day job? What was your day-to-day life before the band?
I was educated as a technical drawer, a guy who could draw buildings and trains and stuff like that. And I lived with that for a long time. And then I also been in a kind of kindergarten to learn the children to play music and stuff like that. So I still have a part-time job there sometimes when we don't play so much, So yeah, I've been a bit around, but since 1985, the music has always been the most important for me. So I always try to figure that out. Of course, you can live as a fresh musician today, but you can get some good money sometimes, So that's cool.
Yeah, totally. How'd you join artillery?
Uh, Back in 1982, me and Morten and a singer called Pioning played in a band at that time called Devil Symphony, and that's also one of the tracks on the new album. And Carsten and Jørgen Sender played in another band where they were talking about making a new band also. And we was meeting in Merciful Fate's rehearsal room, and then we said we had to play some fast things like that, and then it all started, and it was very fast, I think we were playing 2 months, and then we made our first demo back in 1982. And then people at that time say we were sounding like a punky Motorhead. They didn't even say thrash metal at that time. That was first later when they heard Metallica and Exodus and stuff like that. They was coming to say, "Now you're playing thrash metal. Did you know that?" No, but we just played fast enough to have fun, So that was really cool.
Wow. So your sound it evolves so naturally then. That's so interesting. Was there even like a thrash metal scene in your area at all in the 80s, or was it just pretty much artillery?
It was most artillery, but in the late 80s there was a band called Invocator who started to play there, and that was a kind of flashy. We got some bands like Congra, and they also have a bit of thrash, but also a lot of death metal. So there was never so many bands, but today there's really many thrash metal bands in Denmark. Got bands like Demolizer, we got Impalers and stuff like that. So that's growing. The scene is growing in Denmark.
Yeah, I feel like even now there's so many thrash bands, because a lot of people thought thrash died in the 90s, but there's so many new bands now. So it must be so cool, especially doing this for 40 years, seeing the genre almost have a new life now. There's so many bands that have started this just past decade that are thrash metal that are doing really well. And you guys are even coming to the US, which a
Yeah,
lot of bands can't even do. So it's really, really awesome to see that.
yeah.
Now I have so many favorite albums of you guys. I'd love to know the writing and recording process of Fear of Tomorrow, if you can remember.
Oh, well, that's a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
it is a
I
long time.
remember at that time we we made some demos before that, and most of the songs at that time was Morten or mine songs, but then also Flemming contributed with some lyrics and Jørgen with some riffs. So it was a kind of artillery united things to do that album. But at that start, we didn't care about so much about who was writing what, or we just wanted to have some good fun and make so much good songs,
Yeah.
and was out to play there for the first time. So that was cool.
Yeah. How soon after did you start writing for Terror Squad? Did you just go straight into that record?
Yeah, it was very fast. I think we did a small tour in Holland and Belgium, and then we started to write new songs there. And most of the songs on the Terror Squad was Morten's songs. So it was very fast. And I think we already had the album finished in 1986, but it was first released in 1987. And that was because of the need at that time had some big problems with the money side. And they also at that time changed our cover, using a sketch. That was really not awesome. and at that time, I think if Telescope was coming out a year before, I think we maybe had got more interest in of course, Master of Puppets was released, the Slayer released some stuff at that time. But if we could have that album out in 1986, I think people was more like saying, oh, "What is that?" Because many people told me today that it was very very early to hear that kind of style.
Yeah, definitely. And then you guys went off to put out one of the greatest thrash metal records of all time, by Inheritance, 1990. This is such a cult classic record, especially, time has told how much of an impact this album is to so many people. What do you remember about the making of this record?
There was a lot of stories at that time.
Go for it.
It will be yeah. It will be when we did the first song for that album, it was Comaniac and Don't Believe, and I remember that when Morten came with some of the first riffs to Comaniac, Jürgen Sandoz said he didn't want to play that kind of jazz metal. So he was leaving the band there and Morten took over the guitar. And then he was going on tour to Russia. And while we were sitting in the train, we finished the song Comaniac and Don't Believe in the Seven Away from Tashkent and started to have some riffs on, I think it was I can't remember, but I think it was Beneath the Clay. Yeah, Beneath the Clay.
Okay.
And then we was coming back to Denmark and did a demo of Don't Believe and Comaniac, and it got signed at once with the Roadrunner. So that was really cool. We hadn't had a little break here before it was going to Russia, because at that time Fleming didn't really knew if he was going to play more music or he just wanted to do some other things. So, but it came out, and I think people was really glad about that album. So that was cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great record. The whole discography of the band's fantastic. But By Inheritance definitely stands out as like just such a in just as the genre of thrash metal as a whole, like one of the greatest records to come out of the genre. Now something I love about that record is all the Middle Eastern melodies and whatnot. Was Middle Eastern music ever was that an inspiration to you at all in
And
songwriting?
let's go back to the story from Russia. When
Okay.
we was sitting in the train and waiting, driving 3,000 kilometers first one way and then back again, was hearing a lot of things because it was very close to Afghanistan, and we was hearing a lot of that kind of music coming out, and that inspires us a lot. And at that time, they had Khomeini from Iran, and then we suddenly was inspired by that, and you can hear that. I think you still can hear that in some of our songs. So we never forget it. Or we always love to play that kind of style, to put that into the music, because it gives good harmonies to do that.
Yeah, and it adds so much to the music, you know what I mean? I feel like there's so many thrash metal bands that are just, they're kind of tunnel visioned with what thrash is supposed to sound like, where I love how
Mm.
you guys, you give it such a fresh coat of paint. Now
Yeah.
you put out the next record like 9 years later. Why was there such a hiatus between releases?
When we did Van Helsing's, we was booked for a lot of shows to play, and Roadrunner really wanted us out to play a lot of their shows. And me, Morten, and Carsten and Peter wanted really to go out to play a lot of shows. But at that time, Fleming wasn't really keen to play so many shows, so we really didn't get out to play so much. And I think Roadrunner at that time got tired of if they didn't could play all those shows they wanted. And that was why we lost the contract on Roadrunner, I think. And then we got a big offer to play the B.A.C.K album from a Danish label, and Fleming said yes to do that, but also said that he didn't want to play so much. So already at that time, it was B.A.C.K was more like a project, like a real band. But I still think we got some good songs on that, and we just played two shows for Wacken and one in Copenhagen, and then we was on standby again to 2007, and decided to have a new vocalist so we can play a lot more shows.
Interesting. Now, when we look back at this 40 years of Artillery, do you have a favorite album or like era of the band at all? Or is it just all great to you?
it's really difficult because it changes a lot, And I have that thing that I really have some favorite tracks on each album, and I really try to put a lot of those on the set list. So, but
Mm,
it's difficult to say because I also think when we our comeback record when that comes also have some really good songs on that, and I think the latest two albums have some songs who people really have enjoyed.
fantastic.
So it's really difficult to say. We still play very kind of old songs combined with new songs. So we have tried to have songs from each album. I think last time we played, we didn't have any songs from My Blood, but also we try to see if we can get one song there to change, to have some difficult, some different songs to play live.
Yeah, and that's so awesome to hear because I never really got to grow up with some of those early records, and I've never seen you guys live. So especially a lot of these fans who are coming to see you guys fresh, it's given them
Mm.
such a good picture and so, as someone who loves the entire discography, really a taste of each album. So that's really, really awesome to hear. Would you guys ever consider like playing an album in its entirety live? Have you done that at all?
Yeah, we had done that. We had played, I think, 2 times we played Fear Tomorrow. The first time was on the 70 tons of metal cruise. We played
Huh.
that on one of our shows. We had 2 shows on that boat, who was really, really awesome to play there. And we did also play there one time in Denmark. And yeah, you can always do that kind of things, but some of the songs we haven't touched, for a very long time. So it was got to have a big time to get it, on the right way again. Because when you're out to play, there's some songs we always have to play. People always want to hear Comaniac, Terror Squad. They want to hear, yeah, The Almighty,
Bomb
and
food, I think, is
the
a
newer songs.
staple.
Yes, we also play that many times, and play Beneath the Clay from that album too, and also from we played Legions a lot. Many people really like that song, "The Face of Fear," and "Press We Trust" and "Turn Up the Rate" from the new album. So we
Hmm.
try to combine it so much we can.
Cool. Awesome. Now, like I mentioned earlier, you're doing this big 40th anniversary tour. You're coming to the US. What made you guys want to tour the States?
Two things. For the first, we have a lot of good friends over there. We have been playing there. I think this is the third time we go on tour on there. First time was with Onslaught, and second time was a Canadian band called Striker.
Hmm.
And then we also played one show in New York, and then we played the Dead Metal Dead Fest, what do you call it, in Maryland. And we played, of course, we played in Florida because we had on the cruises. We were playing there. And the second thing to play in the United States is that I think people are really cool. They really want to hear us play, and that's really cool. They really supported us a lot. We have a lot of American fans who really want to hear us, and that's really awesome.
Yeah, totally, man. Like I was saying, I'm in Boston, and I love you guys. I'm big into
Yeah,
vinyl and that. It sucks that with the By Inheritance album that you guys like don't have the rights to that anymore, right?
yeah.
Can't you not like put that out officially on vinyl? Like, doesn't Warner Brothers have it or something?
We tried to put it on stream, and they was totally, attacking me and writing, if you don't take it off, and then you got this, and we really try to. The Danish metal kind of music in Denmark have a law who try to do that, but I know there's working very hard now on getting the two first album out, Fear of
Mm.
Tomorrow and Periscope, get the rights back to them. So let's see what's happened.
Yeah, yeah, it's really awesome. You guys have had a few reissues lately, so it's really awesome to see. Especially someone who was never able to buy the album in a store when it came out, to be able to
Yeah.
do it again, like, is actually really cool. Now, we're talking about touring. You guys have probably shaken hands with many bands. Are there any bands that you would love to work with in the future in terms of like a tour, bands you would love to collaborate with?
Yeah, of course, we always have the dreams to play with bands like Exodus, Metallica, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden. But I know that's really tough to get on there. But we played with Exodus one time in Japan, and Gary Holt was a really nice guy, and was come down and said, "Cool guys, it sounded good," and stuff like that. So that was cool. And we knew Metallica from the old days, because when we had rehearsal room with Merciful Fate, they was down in our rehearsal room recording when they were recording By the Lightning and Master of Puppets. So we know them, and when we did When Death Comes, we have a install for that, and Michael from Volbeat and James Hetfield came down and say hello there. So,
That's
and I
awesome.
just talked to Lars. I just talked to Lars Ulrik at Copenhagen last time we played there both. So let's hope that could be really, really nice to hear that, because in the old days, Metallica used to have Artillery on their playlist and stuff like that. So I know that's really difficult today because of management and stuff like that, and there are 600 bands who wanted to do it. So but we still have that hope, and that someday it will succeed for us.
Totally. And it's, cool you're bringing up Metallica because, a thrash metal band, and they became one of the biggest bands in the world, so that it
Mm,
must be nice and reassuring that there is a demand for thrash metal. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that
sure.
that band became what it and that their first four records are really like, are such a focus on their live shows, doing
Mm,
arenas and stuff. There definitely is an audience for that. And even like, listen, man, I was born in like 1998. A lot of these thrash
mm,
shows, are not just people who grew up with the music, but people who discovered a lot of these bands on Spotify and other streaming
mm.
services. How does it feel to like have also fans and like play a show and half of the fans are like, more on the younger side? Must make you feel
Mm.
great as a
Yeah, that's very great, because when we also play, you now can see, a father or a mother with their kids coming to see us, and that's really
musician.
cool, because at that time when we started to play, we were all young, both the fans and us. So I really like when there's new people coming, and I love it when teenagers comes and says, your music is fantastic, and can I get a photo and signed or stuff like that? That's really cool, because that's inspires also a lot to keep on going. And as long as we have fun and people want to hear us play, don't want to stop, just want to have fun.
Yeah, man, and it's really awesome to see, and it's really awesome to also see you guys like, you have your 10th record out, X. So what was it like making that 10th record compared to the first album? It must be night and day, compared to budget,
Yeah,
technology. How different was it?
very long away from the start, when we did the first album. So yeah, that's a big, big difference. But okay, it's still fun to make records. So as long as it's, we will do that.
Yeah, yeah. How much do you feel the band has creatively evolved since that first record? Like, the band must have evolved so much. Like, just you guys as musicians playing all these shows, do you feel the band has evolved at like an extreme level?
Yeah, I don't know if call it extreme, but I think we have, of course, you're learning all the time, and you be in better, and you listen different to things now that you do at that time. Now it's not only you have to play some fast, also have to some melodic things in it. I love to play some harmonies in it, and make it. I always say we play melodic thrash metal inspired, maybe for the Bay Area thrash in that kind of way. But I like to put some different things in it, and you can hear we never afraid to also make a kind of ballad song, because when you hear a whole album, it's cool to have a song like that. Because if you take Metallica, Ride the Lightning, and listen to Fade to Black, for example, that really is a great song compared here's all the stuff on the album.
Yeah, and it proves that you guys are like, you can write a song, you're songwriters, and
Mm.
even you can hear that with the thrash stuff, but just the people who can't appreciate thrash is like, no, we can make music.
Yeah.
So that is cool to hear. I was also it was also cool to see you guys are signed to Metal Blade Records.
Mm.
How'd you guys get signed to that label?
We did 2 songs at that time. I remember one of the songs was Dice, and we sent it to at that time we worked with a guy called Tommy, who was doing a lot of shows for us, and he sent it to Metal Blade, and at that time we just got into the new singer Michael Stützer was the first at that time. The first songs he ever sung was him, and I think it took maybe a week, and Metal Blade called us and said, "We want to sign you." So we were very lucky
Wow.
and very glad, and we have got a very, very good cooperation with them since. So they even come to see us a lot when we played in Germany. And I think when we go to the United States, this time we not go to the Californian side, but I think we're going to do a tour more next year to that kind of United States, that side. And then I will visit the office again. So, yeah, I think Middlebury did a good job. We're very satisfied to be on them.
That's so awesome to hear, man. Just because there's so many bands overseas that will never come to the States and have never been played over here. And to see you guys like
Yeah.
actually like, representing some of these and even just the countries you were naming is just really, really awesome. And you're bringing,
Mm.
thrash metal to the fans. You've seen the not only the genre of thrash metal, but heavy metal evolve so much in your lifetime. What are your thoughts on where heavy metal started and where it went, like the evolution of this genre? You've seen so many subgenres pop up and evolve.
Mm. Yeah, and sometimes today you can't even tell what's kind of that. It's, the band are more and more like
Yeah.
spreading it out, and it's not only metal. There's a lot of things combined into the music. But I still love that kind of music we play also uh, most, and I would do like the 70s Black Sabbath, Zeppelin, Uriah Heep, stuff like that. I also love that kind of way. Of course, also the Maiden stuff and bands like that. Sabotage was one of my favorite bands. But I think today it's really difficult to keep it on because there's so much happening all the time, and almost every week there's a new album out. So you
Yeah.
have to check it all out. You have to be really busy. But I still think there's coming some good albums. I just bought the new Overkill album, for example, the new Metallica, the new Metal Church, and the new Uriah Heep album. So I still follow it and still buy those things I love.
Yeah, and metal's very alive and well, you know what I mean? Like just saying that
Yeah.
all those albums came out, like even like in a month, like that Overkill record came out, 72 Seasons came out. So it's like
Mm.
this almost like mini renaissance of just metal right now. And it's really awesome
Mm.
to see. And that's why it's so exciting you guys are coming to the States. We were talking
Yeah.
about X. Uh, are there any plans for an 11th studio record? Are you gonna cap it at 10?
No, but, I think we're gonna make we just started to write new songs, and I know that we'll be releasing a live album from the Copenhagen. When we play the Copenhagen, we have 10 songs recorded live in very good,
Awesome.
sound and stuff like that. And we're just in the progress to make it happen, to get it out. So maybe it's gonna be released about the 3rd of November. So I hope we can have it with us to the United States. And it's going to be, of course, it's a live album, so it's going to be a limited edition, so 1,000 copies or something like that, I think, both in vinyl and CDs. So we have to see. But people who have heard it is very, very, think it's very good. So
Well, that's
we try to
exciting.
see. Yeah,
And Metal Blade Record puts out amazing sounding quality presses too. So very, very exciting. Now, as we wrap up here, I'm just curious, what's the best way for fans to keep in touch with Artillery, to know all the updates of the band, tour schedules, everything? How do people find all that out?
You can check us on Facebook. We have our the original Facebook site Artillery. If you find that, you can see all stuff there, and then we have a lot of things going on. There's always putting something up there, new old things, new things, and a lot of things happening. So you can follow us there, and you can always write for the emails or stuff if you are in doubt of anything.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Michael, thank you so much for doing this, man. This has been awesome. Really
Thank you for
appreciate
the
it.
support,
Of
and
course,
hope to
man.
see you in Boston.
Yeah, you'll see me in Providence actually at the Alchemy. I cannot wait.
Okay,
I love
cool.
that venue. I'm Brandon
Yeah.
Battick, and this is Disturbing the Priest.